the GPS navigation signals using a GPS can be performed by the satellites transmitting radio navigation signals. The satellites transmitting radio navigation signals, and the user receiving them. Here the user is nothing but receiver only. From transmitting satellite, this receiver or user satellite will receive the signal from transmitting station. The transmitter will transmit the information from transmitter to satellite, and the satellite will send the information to the receiver section. The data link will be forming with the help of this transmitter via satellite to your receiver. Okay, we already saw that picture, right? You need to see that if you want this. Like this, the information will be passing. First, so see from this station, we have a link for each and every satellite. Here we are assuming that we have 4 satellites. Here we are assuming that we have 4 satellites. Okay, so from this monitor station, we have a link for each and every satellite. Okay, but the data link will be connecting to directly to the user station, to the user or to the receiver section. Okay, by using satellite only, we'll track the exact position of the user segment or your receiver segment. Okay, so this is the diagram for that differential GPS navigation. So each GPS transmits navigation signals. Each GPS satellite transmits navigation signals on 2 frequencies. You have to remember that. Each GPS satellite transmits navigation signals on 2 frequencies. The primary L1 and the secondary L2. We have the primary and secondary frequencies. Here we have a 2 carrier frequencies we discussed in the first chapter syllabus. We have a 2 carrier signals, primary and secondary, L1 and L2. L1 frequency is around 1575.42 megahertz, 1575.42 megahertz, and the secondary carrier signal or the secondary frequency L2 is around 1227.6 megahertz. megahertz, which enable corrections for ionospheric delays, which enables the corrections for ionospheric delays. For ionospheric delays correction, we need to use these 2 carrier signals, or we need to call here primary and secondary frequency signals. So these frequencies are multiples of the 10.23 megabits per second. So these frequencies are multiples of the 10.23 megahertz. The reference frequency of the satellite's atomic clock, that is L1, is 1575.42 megahertz. That equals to 154 into 10.23 megahertz. That equals to, we'll get it 1575.42 megahertz. And L2 is 1227.6 megahertz. So these what we discussed in the previous statement, these frequencies are multiples of the 10.23 megahertz. So we need to multiply with the here 154 and 120s. Then you will get the two frequencies of primary and secondary. The stability of these clocks, satellites atomic clocks, is better than if you caught in 10 to 13 during several hours. The stability of this clock is better than if you caught in 10 to 13 during several hours. So the L1 and L2 signals, here we have two signals L1 and L2. This L1 and L2 signals reaching the receiver, the L1 and L2 signals reaching the receiver at any given instant. The L1 and L2 signals reaching the receiver or user at any given instant left the transmitters sometime before. Left the transmitter means satellite only, some time before. If time marks are embedded, if time marks embedded in the signals, which at the receiver would identify the instant of transmission. If time mark are embedded in the signals, which at the receiver would identify the instant of transmission, then the time spent by the signal, to cover the distance from the satellite, to the user can be determined. If time marks are embedded in the signals, which at the receiver would identify the instant of transmission, then the time spent by the signal to cover the distance from the satellite to the user can be determined. So by multiplying this time by the speed of light, the user can determine his distance. Or range. From the satellite. These time marks can be implemented. By shifting the phase of the carrier by an instantaneous value of sequence. Of ones and zeros. Here the time mark can be implemented by shifting the phase of the carrier by instantaneous value of the sequence of ones and zeros. Here the 0 means phase shifter, whereas 1 does not. So this is illustrated in the figure 2.3. You can see that in the 2.3 figure. So the above modulation is made the technique of code sequence is called spread spectrum. So the above modulation is made through a technique of code sequence. Code sequence is made through a technique of code sequence. It is called spread spectrum. Spread spectrum. You need to see the diagram 2.3. This is sorry. In that only we have 2.3. This GPS coded phase modulation. See, if you have a 1, if you have a 1, there is no phase shift will be there. If you have a 0, see, if it this is the 1, so you will get it same as this is the original carrier. This is the code what we are going to send it. See, here we are getting same whatever we have in the original carrier. So once if it will reaches to 0, see here the phase is going to shift at 180 degrees. So here also see, once it will start the ends the 0, again the phase will be shifted. So this is a code sequence. This is called a code sequence. Okay, then in this case, time marking or the time marks or the code sequence modulation or the code sequence modulation is also called as a pseudo random noise. In this case, time marks or the code sequence modulation also you need to call as a pseudo random noise, which will be act as a noise like which will be act as a noise like carrier of information. Carrier of information. If the receiver is synchronized, to the satellite clock, the receiver is synchronized to the satellite clock, and if it generates an exact replica of the emitted signal. If the receiver is synchronized to the satellite clock and if it generates an exact replica of the emitted signal, then the travel time from the satellite to the user can be determined. The travel time from the satellite to the user can be determined. The receiver matches its internal code. The receiver matches its internal code against the code modulation on signal. Against the code modulation on the signal. The receiver matches its internal code against the code modulation on the signal. It is receiving and measures. It is receiving and measures the number of bits of code delay. It is receiving and measures the number of bits of code delay between the received signals and its internal reference code. Between the received signal and its internal reference code. This defines the time difference between transmission and reception. So this will be defines the time difference between transmission and reception, or in other words, the time spent by the signal to travel from the satellite to the receiver. This will be defines the time difference between the transmission and reception, or in other words, the time spent by the signal to whatever the time we are going to spending or traveling a signal from satellite to receiver. That will be seen in the figure 2.4. You need to see that. This is, see, this is the emitted code from the satellite, right? Okay, now, so this is the exact replica of this time delay. See, in this time, whatever the time we are spending for transmitting a signal from satellite to receiver section, how much time it is required? How much time is required for transmitting the signal? This is the emitted code from satellite. Whatever the code is emitted from the satellite. Okay. This is the exact replica in the receiver. This is the determination of time delay in the receiver. This is the time delay. See, here we have a replica site. Then, so here we have three kinds of pseudo-random codes. In this we have three kinds of pseudo-random noise codes. Here we have three types of pseudo-random noise codes. Are superimposed on the GPS satellite radio navigation signals. Radio navigation signal. So you need to see that here we have the clock rate for course acquisition code is 1.023 megahertz. The clock rate for course acquisition code is 1.023 megahertz, and for precision code clock rate is 10.23 megahertz. And we have a data code frequency is 1050 Hz. Data code frequency is 50 Hz. So we have to remember all these parameters. We already studied all this in the second unit, and in the first unit we already studied all this. What is the clock rate of this course acquisition code? What is the clock rate for precision code? And this we need to know. The data code rate is 50 Hz, bits per second. The C by A code is modulated only on the C by A code is modulated. The C by A code is modulated only on the L1 frequency. You need to remember. But this precision code is modulated at both. But this C by A code is modulated only on L1 frequency. But this precision code is modulated on L1 and L2 frequencies. In this, the L1 frequency will provide a coarse ranging signal. It repeats itself every millisecond. And therefore failure to identify the proper milliseconds entails an uncertainty in range of k set of 1 millisecond x into speed of light. The brackets are going to close. Equals to, finally we will get it where here the k is an integer number. Here we will get finally k into 300 kilometers. Here the CAA code also serves as an acquisition aid to gain. Here the CAA code also serves as an acquisition aid to gain. Acquisition aid to gain access to the precise code. Access to the precise code by providing appropriate information. By providing appropriate information. Providing an appropriate information. The P code is normally very difficult to match because it's very long length. The precise code or the precision code is normally very difficult. The precision code is normally very difficult to match because of its very long length. It has a period of 267 days. It has a period of 267 days, but only 7 days portions of it are assigned to different satellites. It has a period of 267 days, but only a 7-day portion of it are assigned to different satellites. To different satellites. Therefore, we have 37 different P codes here. Therefore, we have 37 different P codes. Since the 1 week signals assigned do not overlap with the P code of any other satellite. Therefore, we have 37 different P codes. Since the 1 week signals assigned, do not overlap with the P code of any other satellite. Navigation information and other data. Are modulated. Navigation information and other data are modulated on the carrier. Navigation information and other data are modulated on the carrier at a rate of 50 bits per second. This is termed the D code. This message contains information. This message contains information on the satellite entities. Satellite identification, satellite clock parameters, status of the GPS, system time, and so on. So that message contains all this information. Satellite identification, satellite clock parameters, status of the GPS, system time, satellite entities, all these parameters are going to consider under that message. So here to see the table 2.1, which gives the summary of the characteristics of GPS. You will see that in the coming slides. Table 2.1 gives the summary of the characteristics of GPS signal. This is the signal to table 2.2. Okay. So this is the same model. We will see that in the later session. Okay. So the GPS measurements data 50 bits per second, 1500 bits for 30 seconds. So each and every second we are going to measuring 50 bits. For 30 seconds, 30 into 50, 1500 bits. GPS measurements data 15 bits per second, 1500 bits knowing the positions of the GPS satellites. 1500 bits knowing the positions of the GPS satellites. GPS satellites at any time, as well as the associated clocker provided by the D code, and measuring the range from the user to the satellite. We can deduce that the user's position will lie on the surface of a space centered at the satellite. We can deduce that the user's position will lie on surface of a space centered at the satellite. By measuring three ranges to three satellites simultaneously, the user's position can be determined. By the intersection of three space centered at each satellite. By the intersection of three space centered at each satellite. Since the user does not usually carry a precision atomic clock, since the user or the receiver does not usually carry a precision atomic clock. Another unknown is added to the computations. That is the user clock bias. From GPS system. Therefore, three range measurements are required. For the position determination. Therefore, three range measurements are required for the position determination X and Y, Z, and for the user clock bias, and one for the user clock bias. So here the one should at least observe 4 satellites simultaneously. Here one is we discussed in the previous that you need to see. Here we have one for the user clock bias. Yes, sir. So the one for the user clock, the one should at least observe 4 satellites simultaneously. Here the user to compute a complete XYZ. You need to call that is 3-dimensional, right? One should at least observe 4 satellites simultaneously to compute a complete 3-dimensional fix by solving a U system of 4 equations with 4 unknowns 17. See the figure 2.5. coming slides we will be able to see. So this absolutely three-dimensional position. Figure 2.5 we need to see that. This. See here we have S1, S2, S3, S4, right? S1, S2, S3 and S4. So here we are going to fixing the navigation. We are fixing the navigation. We need to see the figure 2.5 carefully. So in that, here we have four unknowns. So this absolutely a three-dimensional position can be referred to any appropriate selected coordinated system. This absolutely three-dimensional position can be referred to any appropriate selected coordinate system. One fundamental geocentric system applicable to satellite positioning is the Earth-centered reference system is called the World Geodetic System 1972 WGS. World Geodetic System. World Geodetic System 1972. Within the bracket we have a WGS-72. That 72 indicates that year. W means world, G means geodetic, S means system. So the World Geodetic System 72, as is shown in the figure 2.6, we will see that is characterized by the following properties. Characterized by the following properties. You need to see the x-axis passes through the intersection of the equator and the Greenwich meridian. The x-axis, this x-axis passes to the intersection of the equator and the Greenwich meridian. This will be passes the intersection of the equator, and Greenwich meridian. See, this is the Greenwich meridian and intersection of the equator. Here we have an equator, right? This is the equator, right? Then the second point is y, right? See the y or the z. The z axis passes through the north pole. The z axis passes the north pole. See, this z axis will passes through north pole and y axis passes through, here the equator is the right, passes through equator and center of the earth. You need to see that, and center of the earth also. You need to see that the y axis completely the right-handed coordinate system. So the condition of simultaneity of range measurements requires that there is no mutual interference. There is no mutual interference of the GPS satellite signals. This is one of the properties. Of the spread spectrum techniques. This is one of the property of spread spectrum techniques, and this is one of the major reason used for the selection of this type of signals. In reality, the basic GPS measurements. Is not a direct geometric distance from the user to the satellite. In reality, the basic GPS measurements is not direct geometric distance from the user to the satellite, but a range in terms of raw receiver, but a range in terms of raw receiver measurements, which includes atmospheric delays and user clock bias, which includes atmospheric delays and user clock bias. So in the next